Hey guys, welcome to my presentation. Today you guys are going to be second graders of Miss Casey's classroom. So today, in our science class, we are going to be learning about our solar system. So let's get started and jump right in. Alright, so does anyone know what galaxy our planet is on? Anyone? So the galaxy we are on is called the Milky Way, or whichever. The Milky Way, so it's this big, and we're this tiny little speck that you can't even really see. That's how big the Milky Way is. It's crazy. And the Earth's already pretty big, so we don't compare. So what is in our solar system? What makes up our solar system? So the first thing is the sun. We're going to learn a little bit more about the sun later. And then the planets, of course, which we're also going to learn more about. And then we've got our comets, and we've got our asteroids. So let's start to know a little bit more about the sun. So the sun is a star. It is not a planet, it's not a moon, it's not a giant cheese puff, it's a star. It is the closest star to the Earth, and it is found in the center of our solar system. So the crazy thing about the sun is it's so big that 1 million Earths can fit inside the sun. That's how big it is. You thought just comparing everything with the galaxy and how big that is, and then the sun, just compared all to our Earth, which we feel like is so huge. We're just such a small part of it all. All right, so how many planets are in our solar system? Does anyone know? Very good. We have 8 planets in our solar system. So having 8 planets, there's an easy way to remember this. It's an acronym. So the first planet away from the sun, you can remember it by "My very enthusiastic mother just served us noodles." So the first letter of every word represents that planet. So my is Mercury, very is Venus, enthusiastic, Earth, mother, Mars, just Jupiter, served Saturn, us Uranus, noodles, Neptune. So that's a very good way that you can remember. Thank you, Sarah. All right, so the planets are divided into 2 different classes. We've got the inner planets, and then we've got the outer planets. So the inner planets are going to be the ones that are the closest to the sun. So starting out, the inner planets is the one that is closest to the sun, being Mercury. Then following with Venus, Earth, and Mars. And then starting out our outer is Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. So those are the 2 classes that the planets are divided in. All right, so let's start to learn a little bit about our planets. Mercury is the first planet and is the closest to the sun. It is also the smallest planet in our solar system. It is a bit larger than Earth's moon, so it doesn't seem super small, but it's definitely the smallest in the solar system. It is a terrestrial plane, which means that it's Earth-like, so it's got that rocky, hard surface that makes it up. All right, and then moving on to Venus. Venus is the hottest planet in our solar system. It is also a terrestrial planet. It has an active surface, which means that it's covered in volcanoes, which is not a very good vacation destination. It also spins in the opposite direction as Earth and most planets. So it spins the opposite direction, which is super interesting. All right, and I bet you guys don't know anything about this planet. This is Earth. So it's the planet you're on right now. Crazy, bet you didn't know that. It is also the 5th largest planet in our solar system, which is super cool, but still doesn't compare to how big the other planets are that we're about to learn about. So it is orbiting in a habitable zone. All right. Moving on to Mars. A little bit more than half the size of Earth. So it's a little bit smaller than Earth, but it's that next one away from the sun. It is potential away from home habitat. So astronauts have found that it could possibly hold life, which is really cool. maybe our grandchildren's grandchildren will be able to visit Mars, which is super neat to think about. It's red because of the minerals called iron oxide that's very common in its surface, and it's a terrestrial planet as well. All right, now going to the outer planets, we're going to learn a little bit about Jupiter. So it's the first of the outer planets. It is the biggest planet in the solar system, hence the name Jupiter. It is the fastest spinning planet in the solar system, and it has 3 very faint rings. You don't really think about Jupiter when you think about a planet having rings. You think of Saturn, which we'll get to next, but there is actually one more other planet that also has rings that I bet you didn't know about. So our next planet we're going to learn about is Saturn, famous for its rings. These rings are made up of millions of ice crystals, some that are even as big as a house, which is wild to think about. And it's twice as far from Earth as Jupiter, and it has the lowest density, so it could actually float in a giant bathtub if you wanted it to, and if you could create a giant bathtub. It could do it. It would float like a boat. Next, we've got Uranus. So it's twice as far from Earth as Saturn is, and it's impossible to see with the naked eye. Even if you tried super hard to look for it, you wouldn't be able to see it. Its bright bluish green color comes from the methane in the atmosphere, and it has rings just like Saturn, but they're thin and dark. So this was the other planet that I bet you didn't even know had rings. So super interesting. And then our pretty little blue planet is our last of our outer and the farthest away from the sun. 1 year on Neptune is 165 years on Earth. So definitely no bueno if you want to go there. Not like you could. It is the most distant planet from the sun, as I just said, and despite its huge size, the gravity on Neptune is very similar to Earth, which is pretty cool. And it's the coldest planet in the atmosphere. So a way to remember that is this icy blue planet is the coldest. All right, so the demonstration project assignment, I originally was going to do this, of course, with you guys, with the class, but since that couldn't happen, just the idea was to give you guys all little circles that have one of the 8 planets. I would be the sun, and then I would ask the students to line themselves up without any help from the teacher. They'd line themselves up from the planets that is closest to the sun and furthest away. So that is the assignment that I was going to do and see if we could do it on the first try, 100% accuracy. So, wish we could have done that, but life happens. Thank you, Rona. All right, so now it's time to show me what you know. Show me what you've learned in this little presentation. So, is the sun an A, a planet, B, a star, C, a moon, or D, a giant cheese ball? Very good. It's a star, not a giant cheese puff. All right, next question is, what is our galaxy called? Does anyone remember? Yeah, it's the Milky Way. We live in the Milky Way. All right, and now what is the hottest planet in the solar system? I hear Venus, and that means you are correct. Very good, you guys. All right, now what is the smallest planet in our solar system? All right, it would be Mercury, which is also the closest one to the sun. All right, guys, that is the end of our presentation. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope everyone is surviving the apocalypse and